Call a special work session meeting of April 4th, 2016 to order. We do have a quorum. Public forum. Individuals may address the City Council about items not included on the agenda. Speakers are required to state their name and address for council records and limit your remarks to 3 minutes or less. Speakers are requested to frame their comments on items that fall within the authority of the City Council. Generally, the City Council will not take official action on the items discussed at this time, but may place the matter on file, take it matter under advisement, refer the matter to staff or committee for future report, or be placed on an upcoming agenda. Anyone wish to speak?
Robin Hensel, 807 First Street Southeast. It takes a lot of gall for Camp Ripley's Colonel St. Sauver to give his 2016 Camp Ripley bombing schedule economic impact environmental briefing, all while Camp Ripley's in full violation of the very local ordinance that is intended to protect our environment. A recent lawsuit, I believe, was filed by Morrison County against Camp Ripley, as Ripley has not acquired the 2 mandated demolition permits from Morrison County. They either can't meet the requirements of the demolition permits or they're hiding plenty. Never speak against the military activity in a war town, 7 miles from the Camp Ripley cash cow. Way too many former or current soldiers sucking off the military teat. Oh, and let's not forget the Coburn's corporate tie to that same udder. Mayor Greg Zilka is the decades-long manager of Little Falls Coburn Superstore, and he really milks it for all it's worth. Councilor Lauren Boyum is a former employee of Ripley and is a liaison between Camp Ripley and our local high school job shadow program. How many other Ripley connections are there between other city councilors and Camp Ripley? Since 2010, the Minnesota National Guard has recorded the second highest number of suicides of any state guard in the country. A shocking statistic, a dire statistic. That stat is probably not part of the educators' recent Black Hawk tour of Camp Ripley. You too can join the ranks of the emotional scarred for life. Wasn't probably uttered during their recruitment tour. Where's the study to show how many guardsmen and how many civilian employees of Camp Ripley have ever been sickened or died because of exposure to various contaminants and activities at Camp Ripley? Author David Swanson has written in an article about me from 2012 the idea that by murdering large numbers of foreign Muslims we expand our freedoms coexists with radical curtailment of our rights. Our rights shrink in direct proportion to military spending. We can be spied on without warrant, locked up without charge, or murdered, all as a result of the latest war on freedom. We can also be locked in free speech cages for protests and see our freedom to speak, assemble, or petition our government shut down, all in the name of the war that's supposed to make us free by killing people. Arun Kanani, author of The Muslims Are Coming, Islamophobia, Extremism, and the Domestic War on Terror, has written, after 14 years of the war on terror, we are no closer to achieving peace. If we want to avoid another 14 years of failure, we need to try something else.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Correction on the fact that Councilman Warren Boyum has never been, as much as he would have liked to have been, has never been an employee of Camp Ripley.
On to council items. Energy and Environmental Committee. Garbage and recycling contracts.
Yes, the Energy Environmental Committee met discussing the upcoming renewal for the garbage and recycling contracts, and they had a few requests or recommendations to make to the council. First being that in the contract renewal that we allow for residents to place the bags within a container, and the containers are defined within the ordinance already and within the contract. Currently, it's an agreement with the haulers that they don't place any of the bags within a container, that they just leave the bags on the curb so that they can not have to open the lids or remove the containers, that they could just come by and pick up the bags easily. This way, the homeowners, if they have their own container that's eligible, meets the criteria, I think it's, basically it defines what a garbage can is. They can set that out with a lid on it or in the container, and the hauler can come by, take the bag out of the container, the city bought bag, and toss that as well. So that was one of the recommendations. They thought it was bringing a compromise between leaving the bags out, the bags get damaged and tore open by animals or weather or something. The other is that we offered to split the town 3 ways for the garbage pickup and invite the third local hauler to negotiations, and then leave the recycling contract pretty much as is. Anything else, Cory?
No, I think that's, pretty much what the group discussed, and we'd like to have a negotiation committee established so that, we can start those negotiations, because it'll take some time to get through them and try and work things out, so.
You're looking for a third hauler?
Well, there is a third
There's
hauler
a
in
third
town,
hauler.
so, somebody that's been in business for,
I know, but wasn't it, we've always voted on just 2 haulers, okay?
The 3 haulers in town, or 2?
Well, there's 3. You got, Tremble has got one, which is on Piers.
Yeah,
He's where he's from now.
But he's out of town, right? He isn't in town now, right?
The base of his business is not in town, but he does have a contract with us currently.
Right, but I mean, he is,
And the other 2, city sanitation and bottom clearance are in town.
So, John, and we discussed this some agenda planning, just I asked you a question, what was their issue with everybody having the cans, the cost per person or the cost of the resident?
Whether it would be, I guess there was a question of whether or not they would be supplied by the hauler or just by the resident. I mean, within the ordinances already and the way the contract is written, that the cans are, having a can isn't precluded to be, you don't have to have a can supplied by the hauler. It doesn't have to be a rolling can, or it doesn't have to be something specifically that they can use to pick up. It could be your own, regular garbage can that you buy for $5 at a hardware store. You could utilize that, set that out on the curb, have your bag, that green or blue bag that you have, place that in the can, and that would keep it hopefully from getting torn into by animals or ripped open. And then the hauler would just be responsible for taking the lid off the can and pulling the bags out and tossing them in the truck. So, there was, if it was offered or discussed, having the haulers supply the cans and moving everybody to that would certainly not opposed to opening a negotiation for that, but it's certainly going to change the cost dynamic of how our pricing is. If the haulers are supplying all those cans, I would probably assume they would be building that into the cost of their operation.
So is that another deal as far as leaving the covers on the cans? Because I know that was a sticking point last time, is there a blue bag in the can or there's not?
They didn't say any, they didn't prohibit in the recommendation from having covers on the containers. They would either have to have the covers left off. You could have a cover on your container. If you had a rolling can of your own, you could roll it up to the curb with the lid on it. They want the residents to feel that their garbage is secured before it gets picked up, so it isn't strewn about their yards or in the neighborhood or broken. So.
and I think the other thing is, we talked about a can being a 30-gallon can, something that's the same size as the garbage bag. So it's not, the big rolling cans with the lids that the haulers are going to have to reach down or automatically dump. It's a 30-gallon can that, you can buy at the hardware store.
And that is the container size defined.
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm just thinking if I got a whole Long Prairie sanitation can, you know, I can put out on my road through the thing and there, they can stop and look inside a Long Prairie sanitation can and see if there's a blue bag, or they can drive by it. You won't bet they'll drive by it every week. You know, so unless we're gonna, you know, different than a Bob and Mirror, so they got a Bob and Mirror, they throw a couple blue bags in there this week, he's gonna stop and dig somebody else's can, probably not.
Unless the
You know, that's
resident
the whole
calls-
deal with the stipulation on, you know, having the lid off type of deal, or open so you can see if there's. And
I mean,
granted,
if that's an issue, the resident could call the hauler and just say, hey, this is the can that I'm using. And not, you know, you're my or you're the hauler that I use, so
How much can a bag weigh?
30 pounds, that's the same.
30?
It stays the same if we're gonna continue using the bags, the max would be 30 pounds.
Because I've seen a bunch of them. I drove around and I seen a bunch that got a red sign on it, a red tag that said they're overweight. Do they carry a scale? I weighed one that weighed 32 pounds
they have
and they
steel
turn-
back the trucks.
and they turned it down for 30 pounds.
I know they got one in recycling for too.
And I was just curious what the weight was, 30 pounds?
30 pounds is the limit, yes.
I think if you lift it, a little white strap, the tire rips off, it's too heavy.
When everything's all over there, like cheap.
But wasn't it more effort to weigh the bag than it would have been to just
They
throw
would
it
put
in
it
the
on
truck?
a truck, they,
I don't know. I wasn't there when they did it, when they passed it up, put that sign on.
And it could be that it was somebody that is habitually overweight, because usually they'll pick them up and then leave a note or something, you know, but if they're
I would
habitually
think if I
overweight.
did this pickup in Little Falls, if it was only 2 pounds over, I don't think I would leave it there. I would, but,
But if you have somebody that takes advantage of it every week.
well, that could be. I'm just saying,
And
I know mine got left once with an overweight stick on too, so.
so any idea what one of those cans cost?
I did a quick look of rolling, cans that you see commonplace, and they're about $75 a can for a 12 quarter.
For the big ones, right? For the.
I think it was officially 32 gallons.
Oh,
The,
okay.
the rolling square.
So they-
So if you have, I'm sorry.
I think last time when we looked at doing it with the cans 5 years ago, it was $115 per can. If we bought the large can, it could hold the 2 bags for each resident.
is that a 90?
Yeah, that would have been the
Because there's a
large.
90 and a 60 and a 35, I think, is the little one. And I know the little one runs about $44
Okay.
at 35, because I did some
Right.
checking on it.
This was through,
And that's if you had to buy at least 500, but
yeah,
500 is minimal.
So how, now, if we have to continue to use the bags, if we would have went to the cans, we had to use those bags that you gotta buy in the store? Or can you just dump your garbage in there or use any bag?
I mean, that's something we can negotiate with the haulers if they had the, equipment to do that, then
I guess where I'm going.
eliminate it. But then you've lost the ability to price based on quantity. The bags allow for that so that, people can buy, if they want to throw out more garbage, they can buy more bags. If you have this, you're limited, you only throw away what you can put into the can. You're gonna get charged for it whether they pick it up or not. So, if you don't fill the can each week and you don't want to roll it out to your curb, you're gonna get billed for it. My previous community, we had 3 sizes of cans that people could choose from, so you'd at least have that much. I don't know what the total gallons were, but the small, medium, large, so it would be a few bucks a piece difference between size of the cans. So
I guess where I was going is, do we spend more on our bags or a year than a can would cost us if we don't have to use those bags? Because I don't know how many are in a
10 and a pack,
Yeah.
And then
About 40 or 50,
about
whatever. it is.
42 a bag.
Yeah, so it's $14 for cans, so you get 52 of them, you need 5 of them, that's,
But I think the
$7.
intent here is that we still are going to be using the bags, and not everybody will have a can. It's just that if you live in an area where when you put your garbage out, and you have animals or birds or something that's ripping your bags up, that you have an option to use a can.
This-
The program would stay the
Status quo.
same, just like it is right now, where you still have the volume base because you're using the bags. And then, the cans are an option for those people who want to use them, want to buy one and use it.
Right now, if people leave it in a can, their garbage gets left.
Right.
And I've had someone call me, a couple of people that regularly get the bag ripped open and they're picking up their garbage and their neighbor's garbage every week. They'd like to be able to leave it in a can.
Yep, so this gives them that option. That's really what they wanted to see.
I understand that. My point was just, if you're gonna pay $100 for a can, that's gonna last 2 or 3 years, or $70 a year for bags. Are we really saving by going with bags? By going with bags, are we saving with cans? That's my point. If everybody had cans and we didn't have to buy those bags, you could just dump your garbage in them, well then that's saving every resident 52 bags.
The losers in that scenario are the ones that put out a bag every 3 weeks, a month.
Yeah.
So they're paying.
There was also some talk about the amount of plastic material required to make bags versus the bins for the cans. And it was like, several hundred bags equivalent to make one can. And the cans, I think at that time they said they had a 10-year lifespan. So that when they did a cost-benefit analysis, it actually used more material and was more expensive in the long haul than just using the bags. I don't know if those prices have changed, but that's kind of what it was then.
Well, the good news is I know there was elderly that were upset that they had to walk a long way, so at least they would have the option to purchase the cans, and so that would take care of that part of it. I just thought it would have cleaned it up a lot better, but I'd rather have cans out than, because I know the animals got to my bags a few times. So we already have cans, so we'll continue with cans.
Any other questions or concerns?
Well, the recycling, that's all part of this too, right? I've had several people complain about how rapidly they recycle the stuff into their truck and how quickly they just throw the containers all over the place. My house, I came home, I had to get out of the car and move my containers because I set them on the side, and when I got back, they were thrown in the middle of my driveway. I mean, I don't know, I know they need to get done with it, but I think in some cases, the haphazard way in which they throw the containers, and like if they break, we have to buy a new one, type of thing. But there have been several complaints from people that did not like the way their recycled containers were discarded or thrown on their yard after they were picked up. I mean, like how difficult is it to just put the two things all right back inside of them instead of just dump and toss, and hop in the truck and get going.
Sometimes the wind's a factor too. I've seen them where they're sitting nice and they came back later and then take them up to the house right away and the wind blew them and went out into my driveway, so I think sometimes the haulers are getting blamed for that too.
Yeah, there's those considerations. Yeah, we've heard those complaints as well. That's certainly something that would be brought up. I don't know what we put into the contracts if they're how to control that, because
Just make them
you
aware
said
that
lots
there
of
are
excuses
complaints there,
People see them doing it.
Yeah.
I watched them and I've heard them bounce inside my house, so it must be gale force winds. I think it whips them right out of their hands sometimes.
I'm just trying to give them a little bit here.
I'm with you. I understand. I heard them bounce. My hairpiece still stays in place. It's not that way.
So what's our consideration on renegotiating or opening up for contracts for rehaulers and have everything rebid, or? Anybody got any feelings there? One way or the other?
Is there any way, as we go to 3, that they still bid it somehow? I I'm not aware of how that process works because of these.
It would be negotiated between the three haulers. Garbage collection is considered a professional service, and we can negotiate them with them for the price. It doesn't have to be open bid if we choose to negotiate with those three haulers for that service. So, we're already working on trying to find an equitable split between three sections of the town, so that there's equal number of residential customers for those haulers, and it's a logical separation where they're picking up.
As long as it doesn't cost people more because there's three involved. If three people bidding for 2 spots, they're gonna get better pricing than 3 people bidding for 3 spots.
That's what the concern was last time.
So the other side of it is you could just open it up as a bid to everybody. Or,
I think in the past, there's a couple times, her bidder wanted to come in and kind of was always taken care of between the two. They negotiated with us.
So that's the other side. We can negotiate with who we want to negotiate with, or it's open it up to everybody. I think is the only fair way to do that. If it is bidded, if you do bid it, I mean, you have to consider everybody. You can't just pick the one you want to bid.
John, could we negotiate with the three, and if we weren't happy with the negotiations, put it up for bid for 2?
I think
Just negotiate with the two. You negotiate with one, except for negotiations, so.
yeah. You don't need those.
I think if I was gonna do with 2, I think I'd do all 3, otherwise we're not setting a very good precedence.
The way it works if you are negotiating is that those 3 would, they would have to come to the same agreement about what that price is. You don't get one price from one price from another. They have to agree as 3 parties to
Everybody's on the same.
for the same contract.
Yeah, one guy ain't gonna get $1 a bag, the other guy get 50 cents a bag, and one guy gets 75.
Yeah.
They gotta come to an agreement that they're all the same.
They kind of become their own consortium.
Does one have the east side and one the west side now, or how?
It's north and south of
North and
27.
south.
Yeah,
Yep.
north and south.
With the new annexations, there are some, we're not certain of what the equitable split is there. The north side now has more residents too, so even if we do keep it as 2, we'd still look at moving lines.
How about a license or a franchise agreement? Whoever wants to haul pays it, and the consumer gets the advantage of competition on who they want to haul their waste.
That would kind of lead into going to the open bidding side, I guess.
There's some disadvantages to that, big trucks running over more roads. If they're crisscrossing all over, gas mileage, all that stuff was in consideration.
Well, if we had, you were talking just a single hauler.
No, I was talking about the, don't
Get
pick
out of
and choose
those.
who hauls the garbage, and, if somebody wants to hire company XYZ, they can hire company XYZ.
Yeah,
I mean, I've had a couple people call that, big families, they'd like to have a small dumpster or something. I mean, I had cousins when I was growing up that 10 kids, I mean, they literally couldn't bag all their garbage. I mean, they rented a dumpster.
yeah. The disadvantages that the environmental committee has talked about with that are we lose some SCORE grant fundings that we get for the programs that we have right now. That isn't a lot. That doesn't do what we're doing. But like Frank said, you add more vehicle miles to the roadways, keep them up there. There's fuel being dispersed in your community because you could have 3 different haulers in the same street. You gotta all pick up the garbage. That's
Which we do already anyhow, because
I guess.
we got how many people got cans in their own, and this we got cans in that town, this we got cans in here. And
So we're not preventing it from happening in the program that we have now, so I guess something to consider.
I just read a lot of communities that don't do it for that reason. We've Sauk Rapids, heard about that, for the reason you said, Frank, so you don't have sorry trucks driving by everybody's house. Seems senseless if we come to an amicable decision or agreement. And I would rather split it up with 3 if we can. That was my concern later originally. we gonna get the same price if we do it that way, or is it gonna get jacked up because they're working together, so.
Well, if they understand that if they get too high, we have an option of opening it up to others.
I mean, that would be my
Do it.
upfront, you know, if you're not gonna negotiate in good faith, we will just open it up.
Has there been discussion then how long the contract would be if there was an agreement with the three?
There was, I don't think it was included as formal in their motion, but the committee thought the current contract was too long. That 5 years was too much time.
I was thinking maybe 3, and then they could alternate the routes over the 3 years, so everybody, somebody couldn't say, well, we got shorted this year, well, somebody else could put that next year. We kept them somewhat the same and just alternate.
Sure, that's a good idea. Okay, moving on, the school referendum's coming up, and it has been I guess a topic, and a question of other communities. Do you openly endorse the school referendum or openly not endorse it, I guess, or just stay mute on, or quiet on the point? And, you know, I think that should be up to the council to kind of make those decisions of whether or not they want to do that. That decision, the vote is coming up in May, so if you are going to take some action or stance on it, April would be a time to do so. Doesn't have to be at this meeting or the next one.
Mr. President, I would, I just have a couple comments on that. I'm gonna lay it out there. I'm part of the referendum committee. The community development has endorsed it. The chamber board of directors has endorsed it. I can't think if I'm missing anybody else that is endorsing it, but the best, you know, I think there's a lot of positive to this. I think it will enhance our community, make it a better community, and I can make issues for the education part of it. I can make it issues for the co-curricular part of it. But one of the best things for me in my mind is we talk about all the things that the county, the city pays twice for, airport and the Humane Society are two of them. To me, this is a great amenity to our community that it wouldn't be just paid for by the city. It would be paid, it's the entire district. And so to me, that's a plus to have that in our community. I think it's going to bring tournaments to town. And I've talked to parents who spend $5,000 over the winter going to basketball tournaments in different communities. We nowhere compare to any of the other communities around us. So that's why I'm supporting this. I'd like to see the council do it, but everybody has their own thoughts on that. And I did stick my neck out there with the Mayor's Association, and some said, you know, there was all different takes on it. A couple of them I got said, well, our council did support it, and now we don't have a school in our community. And that's not a scare tactic, that's just the two of them that I got. And there were some that said, obviously it's part of your community, why would you support that? So that's my story.
Anybody got any thoughts?
It does nothing but good for Little Falls. I mean, it supports property values, it supports local businesses.
The question I have is it appropriate for the council to advocate for something like this? That's a question, that's not an opinion. For instance, we as a council do not advocate the election of certain school board. Or do they advocate for certain city council or county commissioners? Is it appropriate for us to do that? Is it more appropriate for us to individually speak on behalf? Or should the council as a whole do that? And that's a question I'm not sure.
It's a fair question.
I think that's kind of what the topic is brought up at this point in the meeting for, is to put you on the spot to make a vote.
I mean, I have a sign in my yard right now, and yet I'm leery about speaking as one voice as a council.
We have a sales tax we're trying to get in, and as a council, we kept our mouth shut and was discussed, and that the sales tax almost went through on its own, but maybe if there was a push from the council, it might have went a little bit further. I mean, at that time, we chose to keep our mouth shut, let what will take place, let it happen. So, about our constituents, last time the referendum didn't go through. Half of them are gonna agree with, if you say as a council, we're all in favor of this, or we're all against it, either way, you're gonna get half the people against you. I don't know if I'm willing to just go out and do that. I like to try to voting my own way when I feel about it and keep my vote private that way. If I do talk to people, I tell them what my opinion is. Kind of go that way.
Well, it would be less than encouraging to say that we hope this passes on a 5-3 vote.
Well, and I'm not sure, and I'm sure it's in the records, but I thought after 4 or 5 failures when I was on the school board that the council supported it the year it passed. I don't know that for sure. And it's something that can easily be found, so, and I don't know if they did, if it was unanimous, was it 5-3, was it, or was it 7-1? There's a possibility.
7-1 possibility, yeah.
But, yeah, like I said, everybody's got their opinion on it. I'm not looking to make the decision for everybody. So do we want more information on it, or do we want to drop it?
Any thoughts?
I think we should just support it in our own way. I can agree with Frank. You hate to take half the constituents off and, whatever, and if you do it to a vote, so like, why don't you, it's like, I think if it's gonna go, we can support it, and by talking and whatever we do on an individual basis, I think it would be more appropriate than coming out as a whole group and saying, yes, we do that. Then we're setting a precedent. And we're saying, well, you supported this, why won't you support this, or why won't you, do this down in the future?
But I just set a precedent if it was done before.
Well, that's the case, and I don't know if it was.
Right, that's why I asked if we want more information. And if we're afraid of upsetting half our constituents, maybe we better not vote on anything tonight, because pretty much everything we do is,
That's true.
there's potential of a 50-50 unhappy. There's our conversation on the garbage tonight, there's going to be unhappy.
We'll find out if they did before.
Another possibility, as opposed to a resolution by the council, and having spent my life in education, you have a pretty good idea as to where I would go. But if we're leery of passing a resolution from the council, what about a letter to the editor of the record signed by all council members? Would that put it in a different arena but provide the same level of support?
As individuals or as council members?
You would sign as individuals, yeah.
Yeah. Once again, it's up to the entire council, so.
The thing is, if we are in support, we should be out there
Advocating for it.
advocating for it already, so.
Which I am.
Well, we tried scheduling, moving this along. After 7:30. We tried scheduling a joint city council, county commissioner meeting, and Deb Gruber and myself kind of felt this was a good idea after some of our discussions about the parking lot and Humane Society. want to get as much information out there. Some of you may not have been involved in these previous discussions. I know I certainly wasn't beforehand. So I want to kind of get that out there and have us kind of in communication with the county board and finding some ways that we can work together. Originally, we were thinking April 25th, fourth Monday of the month. Unfortunately, the county had a planning commission meeting that night. So Mondays aren't typically a good night, because we have our board Monday or first and third, and then planning commission is the second. County planning commission is going to be the fourth, and Monday's out completely. Wednesdays, I know. So then we tried for Wednesday, April 27th, and I already got 3 council members that have given feedback that they can't make that evening. So I don't know if it's Wednesdays in particular, or if it's just that Wednesday. But is there another date, day of the week that is a better date to schedule this? Because I don't think the 27th with 3 people being on is going to work for us.
For me, it's Wednesdays in general. Wednesdays are tough. With my travel for work, usually the meetings I go to are going to be over a Wednesday, just,
See, with me, Wednesday is the church night, at the choirs, most churches have choirs on Wednesday night, because that's when they have confirmations.
A lot of Wednesday nights for church. So Tuesday or Thursday is probably a target date, and I know county board meets on Tuesdays, so they probably don't want to meet all day in the evening too. So
they're already in town, right?
they're right there. So, and then they're okay if we meet here. I think would be fine for them to meet here. So I will work with Deb to try to propose a few other alternate dates.
Do you want that scheduled in April?
We're going to try to, or I mean, at this point,
Tuesdays and Thursdays are out for me in May.
Is there a possibility on a Monday to hold it just before other meetings, like just before planning commission, and give an hour?
I mean, if earlier is better, I certainly don't have any problem with meeting earlier, but
Planning commission.
the earliest 6:30. So earliest.
Regular meeting night too, if we got planned it at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, if it works for everybody on a Monday, give an hour and a half or whatever.
Okay.
Almost works better if you have 2 meetings one night, then spread them all out and have meetings
get it
every
done.
day.
Whatever works
Okay.
for.
All right, so we'll keep that in mind and try to get out some other alternate dates, because at least 2 people now, 27th, I'm still pretty leery anyways. Okay, last item I had was with the website RFP. We've been getting some inquiries back. In the RFP itself, we included a review committee, and I was just wondering if there's any people from the council that would be interested in being a part of that decision-making process meeting. So if there are any volunteers, I'd be interested.
I said I'd be
Great.
interested.
Okay. Okay, I'll just make note of that when we get those back, and we start that review process. So, okay, that's all I had.
Anybody got anything under other?
We do have a couple items to add to the agenda tonight. Just wanted
Really good that.
to, we got the positions back for the staff at the golf course. Got through all of those and reprocessed and everything. So we got the returning staff on one item, and then the new staff on another. And then there is one award that we received, actually from USDA Rural Development. And I just wanted to put that to the awards. It was for the fiber ring project that we partnered with the community development.
Anyone else? Just kind of a thought for people thinking now that our bench out here in the front yard contract expired, if we want to keep that there, if we want to ask our guy to remove it off from the city property since it's no longer going to be there. That's something to think about for next go around. We'll turn, take a 5-minute break, be back in quarter 2.